Tuesday.
Okay.
So Chavis already people are
Yeah,
going.
they're starting. Maybe next Sunday. I don't know if.
I'm going away next Sunday also, but I don't know what time.
But also thinking about Darchei and the spoilers. We want to maybe next Friday probably.
Thursday, Friday might not be shy.
Yeah,
A lot
I
of
don't
people
think
going
it'll be
away.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do spoilers, what it is also going to be in the middle of the whole.
I could Zoom it, but people, I don't know.
Yeah, the Zoom. I think. Yeah, that's your. My Bam Darchei will be hard 6 o'clock. Maybe Rafuk and not Bam Darchei next week if you want to.
Friday, not that.
Yeah, Friday. I don't know what people. Still early, but spoilers at least in the middle of the day. People will Zoom.
Probably Erev Shabbos.
Yeah, Shabbos.
Okay. I forgot that. I didn't realize it because no Benji asked me, what are we doing this coming Friday? I didn't realize there was already people leaving now.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what they should enjoy. Okay. We're learning this mimer from Rabbi Meir on page Yud Aleph, Aish Zayin. On page Yud Aleph, Aish Zayin. Bez Hashem Yisborach kvar dua kama pa'amim ma shemuva m'chazal hakadoshim mitzadikim shekol achushim agashmiyim. All of the 6 senses that Hashem Yisborach gave us, achushim agashmiyim, our eyes, our ears, and so on. Shavin sheb'shamayim nasan lanu hem kulam kisuyim ulevushim lechushim ruchnim. This is something we're going to Mitzvah talk a lot more about. All of the chushim that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us are just kisuyim, coverings, and levushim, and garments for something that's ruchnius. Chavetz Chaim speaks about this a lot in a number of places in Shmiras HaLashon, and tzaddikim talk about this. That the eye, l'mashal, that's what we're talking about now is Kedusha Seinayim. The eye is a piece of it's a piece of basav adam. It's a piece of meat. The eye, and the Chavetz Chaim writes there in Shmiras HaLashon, I think the base, Lamed, something like the Tes Lamed, that the eye itself can't see. It's not that the eye sees. The Gemara Bracha says the neshama sees. The eye is a window. It's an amazing thing that Hashem made this window and how it works, all the nerves and so on. But the eye itself is a kli, it's a window. It's a fleshig gezach. It's a piece of meat. The neshama is roa, like the Gemara says in Brachas. The neshama is that which is seeing, and it sees through that chaymer, through that physical part of the body that's called the eye. And Hashem created that, as far as we're concerned as Jews, Hashem created that for the purpose of lachzos b'noam Hashem. Lachzos b'noam Hashem. To gaze upon the beauty of Hashem. It means our eyes were given to us, the window was given to us, through which our neshama should look to find what the pshat is in Rashi, how to understand the Gemara, to see good things in other people, to look at the Maras Machpelah and the Harabayas, to look at our kids, and so on. The eye is that kli, through that window through which the neshama was instructed. The neshama is given, of course, together with the guf. We were told, we were commanded to use our eyes and to look through that window and to see good things. Lachzos b'nayim Hashem. Now, obviously, that relationship with the guf, that combination of the soul and the body, makes things complicated. And what happens very often, most often, depending upon what time you're living and where you're living, and your own Yetzer Haras and Yetzer Hatovs, the window gets dirty. The window just gets dirty. So all of you have had the schus to be in Eretz Yisrael. When you get a certain wind that's blowing in from the desert, everything is covered with a film of dirt. Everything is dirty. Everything you touch is covered with sand. So the eye is very delicate. The eye is very, very delicate, and as a result of its interaction with the world that we're living in, the eye gets dirty. And then the neshama is trying to look through the eye, and there are problems with how the world is seen through eyes that have become covered with the soot, the dirt of the world. Ad kedei kach, the Svarim tell us, the Gemara says in the Dharm, it's a very painful couple of words, but the Gemara says that Suma is chashav kemeis, that a person, lo aleinu, was a saginar, a person who can't see, a person who's physically blind, is chashav kemeis. He's considered Ke'ilu, God forbid, he's not alive. That's a terrible thing, blindness. That sumas chashav kemeis. But in Ruchnius, what the Svarim tell us is that a person whose eyes have become so filthy, have become so infected by the world, chashav kemeis, if he wants to understand why is it that when I'm davening, I don't feel anything. Why is it that when I go to a Makom Kodesh, I go to Shul, or I go to a Kever Rachel, or why is it that when I'm learning, I'm looking in the Sefer, how come I don't get excited by it? So the Svarim say that this is the inyan of Suma Chashav Kemeis, that unfortunately the eye becomes so covered with dirt that when the neshama looks through the eye, the world has blinded that person to such an extent that you look at a Gemara, or you look at a Rashi, or you look at even at a person that you love, and you don't feel anything. Because Sumas Chashav Kemeis, because a blind person, La'aleinu, is like someone who's not alive. So the Svarim say that when a person is wondering, why is it that my learning is not lebedik? Why is it when we're davening, I see people that get excited about davening, or it looks like they're excited, maybe you look like, maybe they think you're excited, but look, you see people and they look like they're excited, and you don't feel anything. You don't feel anything. You can't get excited about things. So there are a number of reasons for this, but one of the main reasons is what we're talking about, that beginning of how the Yetzer Hara experiences the world is through the eyes, and when the eyes are covered with all kinds of alien, foreign things, the eyes become polluted and dirty, ad kedei kach, that a person can become somewhat blinded to ruchnius, that you don't see the beauty of Yerushalayim, you don't see the beauty of being in shul, of looking in the siddur, of looking in the sefer. You don't see that because you're numbed. And the reason that you're numbed is because your eyes are looking at things in a way that's distorted. The eyes are distorted, like the meraglim. Their eyes were affected by that own Yetzer Hara that they had in their madrega. So that's what he's saying over here. He's saying that all of the physical senses that Hashem has given us, they're all just coverings for spiritual chushims, the spiritual senses that we have. The neshama is what's looking. The eye is a kli. The eye is a glass window, but the neshama is looking out through that glass window. And how the world is seen is affected by by what you and I use our eyes for. And if our eyes are contaminated by the world, then you start to see people in a negative way. You start to look at people in a hateful, or negative way. You look at things and it's chashav kameis, like a person that's chashav kameis. Your emotions are this is what's going on now a lot, because of the things that people are seeing. Because there's never been such access to as much access to filth as there is now. It's so easy for people to look on their phones and things to see all this stuff. So then you're wondering, why is it that the davening is davening and the learning is without any cheshek, and you see that it's a very, very big. I'm making a general, broad statement, but so not all generalities are inaccurate to a certain degree. But the girls don't have these same struggles that the guys have, because the girls don't have this inyan of kedushas habris the same way that the guys have. So derech klal, a woman has less problems saying a kapitel tehillim, or is able to enjoy what she's seeing in the siddur or in the tehillim. Again, it's a generalization. It comes easier to her than for the guy, because most of the women, most of the girls, their eyes have not been so. Their eyes haven't been so infected by things that they've seen as much as, again, derech klal, as much as what guys have seen, and as a result of that, they're not as blinded as the men are, and it's easier for them to experience what the neshama is saying without the cloud and the darkness, the guf covering it with all kinds of things. But derech klal. So that's what he's saying over here, that all of the Hashem gave us these senses, like a glass. It's like a glass. And our neshama has this thing that's called seeing. There's a koch of the neshama that's called seeing, and the neshama sees through this piece of glass, the eye. Now, anybody that, I don't wear contact lenses, maybe I should, but anybody that wears contact lenses knows that you have to keep them clean. If you have glasses, which I do wear, so you have to take care of them. And if you don't, then you start to look at things in a strange way. You don't see things for what they are. And if your glasses are not clean, then the car that's coming at you is further away than it really is. It seems to you to be further away than it looks in your glasses or whatever. So it's dangerous. So the same thing. He says that the coverings that we have are like glass. To the degree that these coverings are clean, and we keep them, we maintain them, and we keep them nice and clean, shining, clean and polished. So then you're alive. Because a sumas chashav kameis, a blind person, lo aleinu, is like someone who's not alive. So if the eyes are clean, so then the chushim haruchnim, then the neshama is able to have an accurate reading. So you're able to see that that person is really a good person. And you're able to see that a shul is a holy place. And you're able to see that this Gemara is exciting. You're able to see all kinds of amazing things that if your glasses are messed up, you don't see. The eyes are like that. And these ruchnis de kechushim, meaning the eyesight, the real eyesight of the neshama, they're wondrous. You have a person who's a navi. The navi was called in the time of the Navi was called haroeh. It was called the roeh, the one who sees. Or you have many years later the chayzer from Lublin, the Shiur of Lublin. We can't be masig his eyes that he was able to see. Like the baby sees the baby in the mother's womb hasn't been affected or infected by the world. So the baby is near dolak harosh. There's a candle. Is mabid misayfer levad sayfer. The baby is able to see misayfer levad sayfer from one end of the world to the other end of the world. The baby's able to see in such a way. I mean, so many stories of tzaddikim. Somebody just told me yesterday a story about the Lubavitcher Rebbe. It was an unbelievable story. That somebody at the other end of the world, that how he was able to see what that person needed, and there are many stories like that. Because the eye, The koach of the neshama to see is misof alam hatzadik, the way that it was in the mother. But the second we make contact with the world, the window gets shaded and covered and blinds and so on, and then that koach nifla, that wondrous koach of the neshama, is dimmed, or distorted, and we see things all like it says about the Meraglim. Why it took us the Chazal talking about why is it that in Eicha the ayin and the pei are reversed? So Chazal say Amr B'Fiyah Mashal Lo Ra'u B'Eineihem, that the Meraglim said with their mouths what they didn't see with their eyes. But we know that they didn't lie. They saw things in Eretz Yisrael that were scary, but they didn't see with the neshama dika eigen. You understand? They didn't see with Hashem's promise. They didn't see through. They didn't see through what was happening in Eretz Yisrael. They saw. They saw the same way. You have somebody that said something that's not nice, or didn't treat you so great, so you right away touch up this person. He's a Rosh, he's a Russia. And you don't see to the Misayf Alamat Seifer to see who the person Bemis is. The person's not a Russia. And there's all kinds of reasons why that happened. It may be the Rishis, that the Rishis was your Rishis, 10 years ago, what you did to him. But you don't see that. You don't see that. You touch up the person because of, just like the Meraglim, Amru B'Fiyah Mashal Rabbi, so the pei and the ayin, pei, the letter pei is the mouth, and the letter ayin is the eye. So the pei and the ayin, Amru B'Fiyah Mashal Rabbi, and therefore you look at Eicha and you see the ayin and the pei. Because Amru B'Fiyah Mashal Rabbi B'Eineihem. You give an inaccurate report of what you see. I mean, it's not true. They didn't have these fortified cities there. They had, and the people that lived there, they weren't giants or whatever. They were, but then they came back, and the maskana was that it's fafal. They came to such a maskana because they didn't see things with the eye of the neshama. The neshama was trying to see, but whatever the problem was, which we're not going into now, the window was dirty on their madrega, and because the window was dirty, so they came out with such a maskana that we were better off in Mitzrayim, and they came to such a maskana. And this happens to us all the time. It happens all the time. The truth is that the eyes, the other senses, are chushim of the neshama. They're just kalim of the neshama. Shem bli shiur bli saif. As I said, the eyes can really see. The neshama can see misayf alamat saifa. The neshama, before the baby's born, the baby's able to see misayf alamat saifa. And those tzaddikim who in particular guard their eyes, those tzaddikim who guard, was it the Baba Sali was watching everything in the world. The Baba Sali never looked past his Daled Amas. He had such eyes. So the windows were clean. And when you have sparkling clean windows, so then the neshama sees with that koach that's called misofa olam vatsofa. Then the neshama sees from one end of the world to the other end of the world. Shem bli shiur bli sov. Gewaltige, feierdige, starke, lechtige, neshamadike chushim. You don't have to even speak Yiddish to understand that. Gewaldig, fire, stark, strong, lechtig, shining, neshamadike chushim. Then the eyes are neshamadik. Fire, stark, the eyes. Avyesh lahem kisui. The neshamadike eyes are misayfel about sci-fi. But the physical eyes, the windows, the glass, is a covering. And if you don't keep your windows clean, if you don't keep the eyes clean, then not only do you not see misayfel about sci-fi, you don't see to the end of your nose. You don't see what's in front of you. You can't touch up your own wife and children. You get it all wrong. You can walk into a shul with this hashras hashchina, and you could talk about the nonsense that's on you, and it means nothing to you. The kedusha of the basic, you don't see the kedusha of the basic knesses. It means nothing to you. Sumas chashav kemeis. Mamish kemeis. A person's completely insensitive and dead to the reality of ruchnius. So he sees everything in his life. He sees the wrong way. He sees his parents the wrong way. He sees his wife the wrong way. He sees the kid the wrong way. He sees the Gemara the wrong way. He can't understand pshat. He looks at the sefer. He doesn't see the sefer the right way. He looks at the tzaddikim. He makes jokes. He makes stories. Everything is why? The windows. The windows. And before that same person, before the person came into contact with this world that we're living in, there's so much dirt. Before the person came in contact with the world, he was mabi misayfer lamad sayfer. He had eyes like the Baba Sali. He had eyes like a Navi, like the Chayzer from Lublin. He had eyes. When we were inside our mother, we had eyes like mamish like the Chayzer from Lublin. To be able to see misayfer lamad sayfer. And over the years, the eyes become, especially now. So the koach of the neshama, dika eyes, of the real source of seeing, that eyesight is missing. The person is blind. Lo aleinu. V'hem neshar mechusa. Especially the eyes of a Jew are very, very sensitive. Because we were created lachzais b'noam Hashem. We were created for urei b'tuv Yerushalayim. We were created to see things a certain way, and their eyes are very delicate. And even if there's little speckles of dust on the windows, throw us off. And then the eyes are dark. The windows can become black. You can't see anything. But if the chushim agashmim, if the windows are clean, we're just talking about seeing right now, but it means the other chushim as well. If the windows are clean, if the physical eyes are clean, and the cleaner our eyes are, to that degree that your physical eyes are clean, there's a gilui, there's a revelation of your neshama chushim. So that's where the davening becomes exciting. That's where you see good in everybody. That's where you see good in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You see the good of your life, and you look at things not like the Meraglim. You look at things in an accurate way, and you see things in the right way, and you touch things up for what they are, not to come up with a whole crazy story. Everybody here has had a conversation with somebody that is interpreting something that you also saw in such a way that you don't even know if it's the same thing. Right? It happens all the time. I have people every day tell me this might happen like this, and there's a whole narrative about something. I don't know. I was there. I don't know what you're talking about. And, you start to wonder. Maybe I'm crazy. He's crazy. I don't know. That's what happened. I don't know. I was standing in the same place. I didn't see that at all. Everybody has different stories. The world is telling a story. The Baruch Shalom is telling a story. But everybody's got a different mahalach in this story. Everybody has a different. How does that happen? You're looking at the same thing. So how does that two people have such a different story looking at the same thing? The Torah says he sees this and he sees that. The glass, it depends how the window is. The windows, they even call the things they put on the window blinds. And if shades and blinds and darkeners, right? They have different madrigas. So then that person sees this as in a beautiful way. Two people saw the same thing. People are there watching the same thing. One person says, "Gewaldig, wow, it's beautiful." The other person says, How did such a thing come out like that? That this is. You talk to one person comes. You see one person in shul. How you feeling? He says. And this person that you're asking how's he feeling? He's got this in, he's got that in it. And he says, "Lord David, thank God, I'm doing okay." You talk to another guy, he's got a cold. He says, "Oh, Rabbi, don't ask what's going on in my life. I got the 4th time pneumonia in 5 years. I got my 3rd COVID, even though I had 14 boosters. And I got don't ask. I said, You look like you're okay. And the other guy, I mean, you're all right. But the other guy who's got takatsaris, he says, thank God. I'm grateful for everything I have. How did such a thing to happen like that? Such different narratives of life. So there are many deep reasons for that. Of course, have to do also with how a person was raised. That affects the windows, the eyes. That's the contact that you make with reality. And the contact is either one, like by the Chayzer from Lublin, was the neshama contact. The neshama saw reality. That's how the Chayzer looked at the world. The neshama saw reality. Which meant that he also would see sometimes, when he saw Rishus, it was unbelievably painful for him. Because he saw the depth of Amalek also, you understand? So, you and I can look at Amalek and say, not so terrible. But the Chayzer saw Amalek. So, because the Neshamadika eyes are seeing things accurately for what they are. He says, Kol chush gashmi levush v'kisu lechush ruchni. The physical kalim, the ears, the eyes, and so on, are just that. They're just kalim that are covering the chush ruchni. Kfi shedu b'kama pamim bez Hashem's b'vayrichus. But now we're going to focus more on the eyes. Reishis Chachma, in the Sefer Reishis Chachma, Susi Elena, maybe Karmel L'Shaynish Chazal. Reishis Chachma brings a number of Chazals. As kedai mi pam lepam lachzar alein, it's kedai to review from time to time. L'das sheheinaim hakadosh shel Yehudi ein lana hasaga b'hem. Just to look at some psukim and to look at some Chazals to remind us that the eyes of a Jew, the way that you and I were equipped by Hashem. Now, is that part of the neshama that's called vision? And you look through the windows, but that koach of re'iyah, that a person that's not Jewish can't possibly, even though there was a ma'aseh, there was such a thing that he had by Bilam was a navi, but I'm not going to that whole sugi, what that means, the nevu of Bilam. He's tafka called. Even though he was a Navi, he says, Sumayin, he was a person whose eyes were closed. It's a different Indian what happened. Hashem gave him for that time for the purpose of Klal Yisrael, that he should be able to see. But Be'etzim, the Koach of Nevuah is not something that's really shaykh to somebody that's not Jewish. The Koach of Nevuah. That a Navi can see such a thing. The way the Navi is able to see. There was something I was just learning yesterday. There was a piece from something from the Tzemach Tzedek, and the Tzemach Tzedek just mentioned. He said that how he saw all the time by his grandfather, by the Baal Tanya, how his grandfather saw everything in the future. He just it was just part of a sentence. He said that I saw myself how my grandfather was Magid Hasidus, that he looked at things and he saw things that didn't happen yet, and then they happened all the time. That's what happened. And he didn't even make a beginning about it. He said, "This is like," and it was only the end of something he was saying about the Baal Shem Tov HaKodesh. He said about the Baal Shem that what the Baal Shem HaKodesh, what he had with his eyes, the Baal Shem HaKodesh, not just Misayfer Lamad Sayfai in the present tense, the Sayfai Lamad Sayfai through all years, past, present, future. Misayfer Lamad Sayfai, the Baal Shem HaKodesh saw. And if that's what the Baal Shem HaKodesh could be matched with Rabbi Kiva, with the Tanoim, with the other Tzadikim, with the Nevi'im, what they saw. Akidekach, is there such a thing that a Jew has, and we all have. That's us. That we have the same. I mean, the madrigas of the different madrigas from the Shama, but we're equipped with the Jewish soul. That means that we have the ability to see things. And in a very different way. But if you don't take care of the equipment, so you can look at things even in a worse way, chas v'shalom, that someone that's not Jewish. So we have all of these lashonos that we find that brought down the Reishis Chachma brings down in Chazal and Tanakh. The kol echad b'shtei einayim shelo, nislabish Hashem havaya. The eyes of the Jews, and the slabs of Hashem Yud Kei Vav Kei, are engraved on their eyes. Hashem Adnus, Hashem Aleph Hey Yud Hey, Hashem B'chinas HaKruvim, And these are all, each one of these things requires a whole conversation. It's not for now. Hey, Naim HaKadosh shall call Yehudi. The way the crew from looked at each other. And with the oisius of Hashem's names, that's we have that. Hey, Naim HaKadosh shall call Yehudi. Hey, Kadosh is Ad Ma'ai. Hasholos Tzvoim Shebeinaim, the colors, the different colors of eyes, what do they mean? So you have somebody that has blue eyes or brown eyes. What do those colors mean in the eyes? It's a very big subject in this Svarma Kedoshim, the different colors of the eyes. And you have that by people that aren't Jewish also, they have different colors. But what does it mean? Be'etzem. That's just in the glass that we're looking at. But when you have somebody that has blue eyes or brown or whatever, what does that mean in the shurish of that person? Where does it come from when it comes to a Jew? The different colors, the three colors, are a remez to Avram Yitzchak and Yaakov. The bas ayin rams al Shechina. And the bas ayin, the pupil of the eye, is a remez to the Shechina herself. And it was the shurish, it's the root of our eyes, of the ovis and the Shechina. And the other remarkable things that are at the root of the eye. Arba Chayis HaKodesh, Malachim, Chayis Kodesh, Arba Raglahai Markava, the wheels of the chariot, Ayin Shal Yehuda, Gavoa Me'al Gavoa, the eyes of a Jew. Vaina Gashmi, Rak Levush, Lain Aruchni. The physical eye is just a levush, it's a covering, it's a window. Like everything with our bodies, it's just a garment of the neshama. She gavor me'al gavor. The neshama itself is gavor me'al gavor, and the neshama has this koach of re'iyah, of see, gavor me'al gavor. That's something that's so beyond our understanding how high it is. Gavor me'al gavor. Those tzaddikim that they were able to see in this world in such ways, because their vision was the vision of their neshama was unobstructed. They had unobstructed vision because the eyes were not polluted and not dirty. So they were able to see things in such a way. It says in Pasuk, there's a piece in Avodas Pnim, maybe we'll take a look at it inside, but it says in Pasuk, Ki Aish b'choshech Hashem or li. Though I sit in darkness, Hashem is my light. But the Avodas Pnim says that the tzaddik is a person who sits and closes his eyes to the ugliness of the world, and because of that, orly Hashem sees light. Ke'esha b'choshech, the tzaddik sits in darkness. It's not talking about something bad. The tzaddik has made a choice to close his eyes to the ugliness of this world, and because of that, orly, I have light. He's able to see things for what they really are. Hashem orli. Hashem is my light. That he sees things like Ein Hashem al Tzadikim. He sees things the way that Hashem sees things as much as a human can. In other words, to have one's eyesight aligned with Hashem's way of seeing things. Hashem sees the truth. Hashem sees everything exactly for what it is. And when a person, the tzaddik, is able to bring himself to such a madrega, where the eyes are so clean and the windows are so clean, that he sees things the way that Hashem sees things. So if Hashem sees the beauty in that person, so you see the beauty in that person. And if you're seeing ugliness in that person, that's not the way that Hashem sees that person. I'm not talking about Amalek. So why are you seeing ugliness? Why don't you see the good in that person? The Torah says that you have your windows. You have problems with your windows. You need to get a squeegee and clean the windows. That's the windows are dirty. So what is it then?
I was always under the impression that the neshama is dirty, and these are just...
The neshama is not dirty.
And these are just objects
no,
on top of them.
That's
Some
wrong.
people could have no vision, or the Baba Salih could cover his eyes, and he sees everywhere because you really see from your neshama. So I didn't understand what the physical... I thought they're just physical kalim, and it's all the neshama. And sometimes the neshama is caked over. I don't understand when we're saying.
Okay, so that's what we're learning. So Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. So now you understand. I hope that's what we're learning. That it's not that way. That Hashem created the physical senses as kalim through which we experience the world. The same way that you experience cold through that appliance that's called a refrigerator, and it's plugged into the same energy source, an electric source, as the iron through which there's heat, or the radiator through which there's heat, and it depends on how that energy makes its way through that kli.
So you're saying the physical alien are damaged.
That's what we're learning. That's what I'm saying. That's what we're learning, right? Yeah, that's what happens.
No such thing as the neshama caked over.
The neshama.
Like covered over with spots. I've heard
what time you got up this morning? Whatever it was, 6 o'clock, 6:30, and you said the words "Alakai neshama shnasat be tahorhi." You remember?
I was given it. I thought we dirty it through life.
The neshama doesn't. We don't dirty the neshama.
No,
that's a non-Jewish way of thinking. The neshama is pure. That's why the Arizal says that at the time when a person sins, the neshama does not participate in that sin.
Oh,
the neshama can't. No, our souls. That's the speeches. That's from in the church. That's the speeches. The soul is the filthy. It's not that. That's not Jewish. The neshama is pure. It's looking through glasses that's in that combination with the guf, in that partnership with the body, that we make all kinds of mistakes. And because of that, the refrigerator is broken and the radiator is not working, or so there are all kinds of problems that the appliances that we because we don't take care of them properly, our appliances. But the neshama itself is neshama. The kind of neshama should be tahiri. The neshama is pure. We remind ourselves of that every single morning. It's not. Why doesn't a person say? According to that way of thinking, the other way of thinking, a person should go up and say, "Lakai gavalt gavayit, my neshama is filthy, it's disgusting. I messed it up. I had all kinds of bad thoughts during the night. What am I going to do? What am I going to do?" That's how you get up in the morning. No, you say, "Lakai neshama shasati b'tahari, help me, that I should be able to keep it." Not to keep the neshama pure.
That I should keep it pure.
No, that I should not block that pure light in my neshama of who I am. That I should be able to. That's why you say Baruch Hashem machzir neshamas lefgar mesim. That I should be alive. I should be alive, not to be someone that God forbid is sumach chashav kemeis. Someone that.
I should return it clean like I got it clean. That's what I thought it was.
The neshama is clean. The neshama is pure. It's the kalim that we damage, and as a result of that, we have the impression, God forbid, as if something is wrong with the neshama. One has to. What I'm just saying now is oversimplified, and one needs to learn Tanya properly, especially the first, at least the first 16, 17 prakim of Tanya, very, very carefully, and to understand what that means. With the nefesh elokis and nefesh bahamis, and the left side and the right side, and how it is possible to take the neshama, God forbid, and to throw the neshama into a place with dirty windows. But the neshama, the essence of the soul, is not something that changes. But the neshama can certainly be affected by our appliances. The neshama is affected by how it's interacting with the world. That's a long conversation just about, but one should learn Tanya properly to understand how that works. But the neshama itself, the neshama of a Jew, the neshama of a Jew is pure. So, the second column on the left side. We only are experiencing in the guf a part of our neshama. The much bigger part of who we are is not in the guf. It's in its place. We're only living here. Again, it's not something that you can cut into pieces, but the neshama, the neshama remains in its source, in its makom. That's why it can't be ruined. It's still in Shemayim. There's only a certain aspect of the soul that finds expression in the guf, and is infused into the guf. But the essence of the neshama remains gavoa me'al gavoa in Shemayim. We're only using a percentage, a certain small percentage of the neshama. The time will come that our neshamas will be fully, even in this world, in the guf, in a way when the guf will be purified, and it will be by tchias hamesim, and the guf will be, everything in the guf will be clean and shining and so on, that there'll be a much fuller manifestation of that tahara, of the etzem of the neshama, what the neshama is. Kol shar chalakim shel neshama nimtzom gavoa me'al gavoa. Harbe yesh lamal mikol malach v'kol sarv. The neshama itself of a Jew is much higher than any angel, than any malach or any sarv. K'may shel guf gashmi yesh kamer shleima, ken gam l'neshama yesh kamer shleima. The same way that a guf, that a body, has many levels in the body itself, there are all different kinds of madregas and different parts. So too, the neshama has the madregas. That's what I just said. That really, this is, of course, these are very, very deep matters about the nature of the neshama, and it's not what we're going into right now. But it's a very beginning. Well, Hashem wants us to at least to know this. We might not have all of the details and all of the facts. Again, one can learn about this in the Svar. I gave just Tanya as an example, but there are many Svarim to learn what the neshama is and how the neshama works. But just one should at least know that the neshama is gavoa me'al gavoa. To review this, just to know that the physical eye is only a garment, it's only a kli for the ayin haruchni, for the spiritual eye. It says in pasuk, ki ayin ba'ayin yiru, with the eye we will see the return of Hashem to Tzion. Ayin ba'ayin, ha'ayin shenintzes b'soich ha'ayin, ayin b'ayin. The eye that's within the eye. That's how the neshama sees. Ayin ba'ayin yiru.
The mind's eye.
Yeah. The neshama's eye, not the mind's eye. The neshama's eye. Ayin ba'ayin yiru. Ayin ba'ayin yiru. Ayin ba'ayin ha'ayin shenimsa b'soich ha'ayin. The ayin that's within the eye. The eye within the eye. Not just the physical eye. The ayin ba'ayin. With that eye within the eye, you could see. Certainly Tzion Yerushalayim, see. Within the physical eye, there's a spiritual eye. And it's higher and higher, madregas. Depending upon how clean a person's eyes are. Depending upon what a person looks at them. Whether the eyes are clean or the windows are dirty or the windows are clean. There's Gali Yosef HaTzadik to whatever degree the person's eyes are clean, he's able to see ayin, more ayin bi'ayin. Then he's able to see the eye within the eye. But if the windows are dirty, so then it's just the ayin in a very, very distorted way. The ayin bi'ayin here. P'kicha eina einayim p'suches l'tzadikim hayu ofena oigen. P'kicha eina. The Gemara says, Chazal say that like fish, they have p'kicha, the fish, the eyes are open, and tzaddikim are nunei yama, called like fish. It's not just that they swim in the ocean of Torah, but their eyes are open. The meaning of their eyes being open means the eyes of the neshama is open, because to a large extent the eyes of the guf they keep closed as much as possible. They don't walk around looking at everything. Their eyes are closed. Can you imagine? You see, I once told you my father, Zichron Levrach, had had a brother, Avram Tzvi, who was a big tzaddik. He was killed. So Avram Tzvi was a huge Talmid Chacham. He used to learn with Minchas Elazar for a few weeks, like Charusa. He was a huge Talmid Chacham. And my father, there were 4 brothers, and this brother, Avram Tzvi, Avram Hersh, they called him. This brother, the other brothers took turns walking with him in the street. Because this uncle of mine, who I of course never met, this Avram Hersh, this Avram Tzvi, he wouldn't lift his eyes up. He would not look. And what do you think what did you see like in 1925 or 1930, someplace over there in Ungar in the Carpathian Mountains somewhere? What do you think you were looking at? Not what a 7-year-old sees in 30 seconds of his day, they didn't see there on the street. And my father said that my father was the youngest brother, so he had most of the time that he would take and he would walk him. He would not look. He wouldn't lift up his eyes. So a person has such eyes. You understand? So the tzaddik is called enek bekicha. The tzaddik's eyes are open to see. Doesn't mean that he's able to see scenery. It means his eyes are able to see ayin be'ayin, to see things for what they really are, because the physical eyes are not looking at those things that they shouldn't be seeing. So therefore, the ruchnistic eigen are often eigen. The eyes are open to see the true reality. See the true reality. All right, we'll stop here. I'm not sure yet. We'll see about next Sunday. I guess I'll get a consensus. I'll talk to the Chaburah to find out what's going on.
I want to thank Rahmani. You didn't do it at the beginning.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't thank the Rabbi Rahmani and the family. Sorry, I forgot. All the Shiur, Darchei, Avinoam. Yishal Yisim Nachas and Rabbi.
Amen.
Rabbi, cleaning them and